Hey everyone. It's great to be here this morning. It's morning for me. I don't know where you guys are in the world, but hello. Thank you so much for being here. And as Jason said, I live down here in Atlanta, in the suburbs of Atlanta, technically. And I freelance and teach right now a lot of Zoom lessons. This is a very familiar format for me. Um, and yeah, my project, I guess, that I started about a year ago was to write these backing tracks to the Rose Shoes. So we'll get into that some more a little bit later on in the session. But let's start out with I'm gonna kind of just walk through some of the things I typically do in my first session of the day, my like fundamentals session. So let's get let's get my metronome going here. Here we go. All right. Let's do a little bit of breathing. Um, I know the breathing exercises can be boring and it's easy to just skip over them. Um, but something that helps me a little bit to make sure I do them is to think about them as a more of like a meditative way almost to step into like the headspace of practicing. So that helps me mentally to approach it in that sort of sense. The first one we'll do is with the metronome, we're going to breathe out for 4, in for 10, and then out for 10. And really try to fill up all the way. Think about filling that glass of water from the bottom up, and then evenly pace the air in the exhale. Here we go. Sorry. Out for 4, right? Always start, I like to start with the exhale because then you can get completely empty, all the way empty, right? Here we go. 2, ready, go. Okay, let's do that one more time. I sometimes do put my hands like here around my rib cage just to physically really get a sense for that expansion. Okay, filling the lungs all the way up and feeling that kind of expansion in every direction. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So that's a good one. I typically do that one to start out with. And you'll notice, like, I'm sure maybe everyone's a little bit like this. I tend to stick to similar exercises, but I think it's normal for like the exercises you do in your routine to kind of evolve a little bit over time. And I definitely notice that for myself. But typically the format or the categories at least are consistent no matter what the specific exercises are that I'm doing. Um, so the next breathing one we'll do is in for 4, out for 8, in for 4, out for 12, in 4, out 16, in 4, out 20, all nonstop. And this one, just really be thinking about like pacing your air evenly. And at any time you're at that halfway point, you want to be halfway out of air so that it's completely evenly paced. All right. 1, 2, ready, and always wakes me up. All right. I don't know. Do you guys do breathing exercises usually before you play? I think it's good. I don't do maybe as many as some people do, but I like to do a couple just to start out the day and just ease into it. Um, especially depending on how early in the morning it is, can help you to wake up. um, yeah, so do a couple breathing exercises usually, and then I move on into the buzzing. So something I've been doing a lot lately and using is the Joe Alessi warm-ups, like the music studio. I have like the subscription to the Joe Alessi Music Studio where he has lots of videos and warm-ups, and so I thought we could do a few from that. So let me share my screen here, and hopefully can everybody see? Great. So he has some really good buzzing exercises that I like to do, and typically I do it with the video. I like to listen to him do it and then play back. And that also gives you the metronome. It gives you the drones. In the case of the buzzing, there's a piano that'll play the chord before each new key. But for today, here, let me think. Let me get my drones here. I like to do a little bit of singing as well. At some point in my practice, usually early on. So what we'll do for this first buzzing exercise here is sing first and then buzz it. So for each like phrase, each like little 3-bar phrase, using the drone to get that starting pitch. So if you feel comfortable singing, I mean, I can't hear you. So yeah, let's sing and then buzz. And I'm not going to use the metronome for this one. Let's just keep it really relaxed, just really gentle. And I'm probably going to be singing an octave higher than you, maybe. So I don't know. I'm not a singer, by the way. I'll do my best. So here we go. There's our B flat. All right. 2, ready? Yeah, so just trying to really find the center of pitch, vocally on the mouthpiece, and already just be thinking about pitch center. Um, so yeah, let's skip down here. I'm not gonna, because I want to get to the row shoes at the end, and I don't want to take forever getting to that. So I'll skip over a few of the things.
Erin, would you be willing to maybe just take a minute or two and like slowly kind of just talk through the different things that you do so we can get a feel for like how you spend your time?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because that'd be really helpful, I think.
Sure. So yeah, the buzzing, like what we're doing now. So you mean like just sort of mentally how I'm approaching it and that type of thing?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute your square. Okay, no,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. But even if you just kind of like go to just kind of talk about the different exercises and things that you do, just to even say, yes, I spend time doing this, I spend about this much time doing that,
Yeah,
just to get a feel for,
so I usually do about a 45 to 50 minute warm-up routine. And so just to give you like the overall kind of breakdown, maybe a few minutes on breathing at the beginning, 6, 7, 8 minutes or so on buzzing. And actually what I typically do, I was going to switch over to this next. I really like to use buzzing with the lead pipe. It's something, being in Atlanta, I have the great opportunity of taking lessons from people like Brian Hecht and Nate Skunk. And something that Brian Hecht has gotten me doing is buzzing with the lead pipe. He has a great YouTube video actually where he walks through sort of his buzzing routine and his ideas about buzzing. I think it's called Buzzing in the Bass Trombone if you want to check it out. But yeah, he's got me buzzing with the lead pipe, and I've been doing it for a little while now, and I've found that it really helps my playing. At first, when I first started doing it, doing like sirens and just buzzing these kind of free sirens, I would have these like breaks in the buzz where it just kind of skips up. And so I've been working on like really ironing out that kind of thing so that you can smoothly be able to buzz from the bottom up and back down in the range, which is something I'm still working on. But using the lead pipe has been a really helpful tool. Actually, Jason, I think I've noticed you doing this before. I've recently got this like rim mouthpiece visualizer, and I was gonna ask, any of you guys that are here, like if you guys have ever done rim buzzing and if you like it, and what kind of exercises you might recommend I try, because I haven't really used it too much, but um, yeah, I thought I would give it a try. So
Could I just say, I for me, rim buzzing has been like a game changer for the high range because
really, yeah.
mouthpiece, like since it's a harmonic or still has a harmonic series, it sort of breaks down around a D. I just can't buzz above a D on a mouthpiece. There's a kind of between the partials. But with
Hmm.
the rim buzzing, I can go up to like the extreme register, and I actually kind of started to explore what the air actually has to do up there. I just never really got
Yeah.
exposed to that before because I just never actually did that. So it was a game changer for me.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah. Um, yeah, and by the way, I should have mentioned this like before we started getting into the playing, but anybody, I wish I could, let me see if I can switch the gallery view here so I can see more people at once. Um, Feel free to chime in, anybody with like questions or comments or anything. I'm just kind of going with the flow here, but if you want to jump in at any point and make a suggestion or
There's
make a
always a
comment, then
there's always a little
yeah,
bit of awkward silence for the host,
Yeah.
whoever's like running the session, just because everyone's usually taking the information in, and then you're kind of left like in your
yeah.
own dark room. But yeah, for the rim, I would echo Dave's sentiment that I this rim is for me this was like a Bach 1G, so it's pretty close in size to what the mouthpiece that I currently use. But I used to
Mhm.
have what's called a cutaway mouthpiece, which is where it had part of like the shank was still attached, so I could put it in my instrument and just
Mhm.
hold up my instrument and play along. But Toby Oft is somebody who, and it might be before him, but he kind of is somebody who brought the idea up that by just having the rim, then you remove some of that fuzziness that comes from like having the other stuff in the way, like the other part of the mouthpiece in the way. But I
Mhm.
also find that this is highly portable, so I can like throw this in my pocket, and it's very easy to have in the car
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. But I would echo Dave's sentiment that, and actually I've also done I've started doing a lot of free buzzing. So
Oh, yeah,
I'll do
yeah.
some free buzzing. I'll do some rim visualizer buzzing. I actually do those two more than mouthpiece buzzing, although I do a little mouthpiece lead pipe buzzing, and then I'll put that all together. But it like the way that the muscles in my face have to work to do the free buzzing is slightly different, and the way that like my embouchure like literally is doing its thing on this may be different. But I find that when I then go back to my instrument, it's better. So it's almost like
Yeah.
a form of cross training that is beneficial to the end result of playing. Some people tend to
Yeah.
say, "Oh, it's different than how I play, so I don't want to do it." And I agree it is, but I have found that it has enhanced my playing. So for some, I think they get that benefit, and for some they don't, and so everyone's a little different.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. There have been times in my practice where over the years, sometimes I buzz more, sometimes I buzz less. I find it to be a pretty beneficial thing to do early on. So I think it's a personal choice, however much you buzz or don't buzz, or if you use certain extra things like the mouth, the lead pipe, or the rim. But I personally have found it to be something that's it really helped my playing a lot. Um, so yeah, I typically do maybe 10, 15 minutes of buzzing, somewhere in that ballpark before I pick up the horn and play. Um, yeah, why don't we do a couple more here, and then I'll try to keep interjecting and talking in between the exercises. So yeah, I'm going to use the lead pipe for this one. Let's do number 4, and just aim. I tend to not use much tongue early on, like when I'm buzzing, doing long tones. So I'm just trying to think about like airflow, pitch. So let it be glissy, let it be smeary. Let's see. I'll use a drone for this one too. Can you hear that okay? All right. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. And just kind of relax. I'm going to use the metronome more often with some other exercises, but yeah, for right now, just kind of freely, I think. Right down to the A. Oh, hang on, that was an intense. Sorry. Yeah, yeah. And then I also like to do, I think I mentioned this earlier, but just buzzing sirens and trying to connect as much as possible, like the full range on the mouthpiece without forcing it, never forcing it. Just whatever kind of naturally can get. Of course, try to extend and stretch and push yourself. I think a lot about my tongue placement when I'm buzzing. I feel like the tongue, when I'm getting higher, is kind of doing this. It's kind of arching up in the back. And I almost think of it, visualize it as like a slide for your air to help the air accelerate and get faster. And I think of like a twee kind of syllable shape, twee, as I'm getting higher. That e kind of syllable I think helps when you're ascending, and then e o or o as we're getting lower. Like I think it's similar to whistling. I can't really whistle very well, but if you whistle and you think about what your tongue is doing, it's the same. It's the same action as when we buzz, as when we play, and as we're changing registers. So yeah, let's just do a few, just kind of freely sirens, up, down, up, down. You can sort of on your own, I guess. Just stretching down low, and up high again, keeping everything just nice and loose. Let's do a couple more of those. And another thing that I'm already thinking about is mouthpiece pressure. That's something I've been working on in my playing a lot lately, is making sure I'm not pressing the mouthpiece up against my face. So I'm trying to almost imagine like there's some external force pulling the mouthpiece away from my lips so that there's just enough pressure to create a seal. So I don't think it's ever too early to be kind of making these mental notes and mental adjustments so that they're just with you, right? Little reminders like, all right, ease off on that mouthpiece pressure. That's something for me that I think I had a bad habit of before, and maybe still do a little bit. So yeah, try to keep that mouthpiece pressure as minimal as possible. Good. Is it Johan?
One question, is your mouthpiece pressure 50-50 to upper and lower lip? Or
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I'm trying to keep it pretty 50-50, although I think I might have a little more, I guess, on the upper lip, but yeah, I'm trying to get it right in the middle. That's actually something I've been working on in my I take lessons with Nate Skunk, and we've been talking a lot in our lessons about like the upper register and using that lower lip as more of kind of a grounding point, I guess, in the upper register. I think, was it Carol Jarvis that mentioned that in her talk? So yeah, I'm trying to keep it more 50-50. I hope that answered your question.
Can I just chime in? There's Jason, you might still have this. I think it was you shared with me years ago. There's somebody's done a study on the three different sort of embouchure types and how like weight distribution on the embouchure affects different people depending on their dental structure, stuff like that. Jason, if you still have that article, if you know what I'm talking about, please share it.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find that article. Of course, my computer is a mess right now, but I know that decades ago Reinhardt did a number of studies, and he published a book called The Pivot System, and it's the worst name for the book because it's not actually a book that is teaching you how to like pivot. That's not what it's about. It's a book where basically in his research he basically kind of put everybody into these different types of embouchures. There's like a type 3A and a type 4 and a type 2, and it has to deal with like how much upper, how much lower lip people are using, or the way that things are kind of set up relative to their muscular structure and dental structure. And all he did was basically say, look, if you have this type of setup, you'll probably find these things to be a little easier. You'll probably find these things to be a little more difficult, and you may want to consider doing these like exercises, right? And then from then it got really distorted to people thinking that Reinhardt was advocating like funky, weird pivots for people and stuff. And so it gets a really bad name. But if you find any articles or whatever about the Reinhardt, REINHARDT, I think it is. But I'll post some information about like his stuff. But I think the article I sent to you, Dave, was related to what he was kind of talking about. So it's literally just a way to kind of categorize the tendencies of what people tend to do. And there are different faces. There are some people that are more upper lip reliant. There are some people that kind of have an upstream versus a downstream, you know, and so with people having so many, you know, kind of every body is different, as they say. And because of that, not everybody does it the same way. But I, you know, I know one thing he said was upstream players. He said mouthpiece buzzing is actually disadvantageous for upstream players. And so he would make these kinds of statements, and they're meant to be kind of broader. But yeah, let me see if I can find that article.
Yeah, I'd love to check that out. And I think also like your dental structure, most people have an overbite. I have an overbite, and I think also I would say I'm a downstream player. So my angle of my mouthpiece, you can tell in my lead pipe, is going to be more down, and I do a little bit of maybe kind of a more downward shift as I get into the upper register. But nothing extreme. I'm never trying to like intentionally do anything extreme with like the angle of my instrument or with the angle of my mouthpiece. So yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I was just going to throw in that as you're talking about facial structure and things like that, is that that's one of the things that's actually a normal change of aging as well. The mandible, the lower jaw, tends to extend as we get older. So what worked when you were 20 may require some modifications when you're 60.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
And I just posted an OTJ article about Reinhardt and the pivot system. Dave, I don't think it's the same exact article, but it's a starting point for those of you that are interested in kind of going down that rabbit hole. And actually, and Erin, not to derail us too far into the minutia of embouchure, but lately I've
no, I'm all about it.
I've done a lot of work lately because I've studied like neurophysiology and neuromuscular control, and so lately I've actually started working with individuals who for whatever reason just seem to have weak buccinator muscles, or seem to have weak zygomaticus major muscles, or just, you know, some people just have parts of their face that from a muscular standpoint are just weaker for whatever reason. And so when they try to buzz, especially in extreme registers, things kind of collapse in a way that's just not helpful. And it, you know, it can strangle the buzz, it can put a lot of tension, you know, and and it's really common for trumpet players. Like there are stories of some trumpet players, even, you know, professional trumpet players, that have put so much pressure on the instrument into the face, they've actually ripped the pinky ring right off the instrument and knocked themselves unconscious. And the thing about it is that there's a reason that people use pressure, and usually the reason is the musculature is not strong enough to withstand the interoral air pressure of what like needs to happen. So if people are dealing with areas that are weak, like the chin may roll under, everything may squeeze, one side may be okay, the other side may frown like a joker, you know, but it's usually muscular imbalances. And so there are ways where you can actually kind of focus on like the muscular development. But it gets dicey because we don't want to overthink it, right? You know, we want to be much more about the singing and the air or whatever. But there are some people who can benefit from doing some what we might call rehabilitative work to get their face kind of working a little more. And to be honest, I think the rim buzzing and the free buzzing have been like the most helpful things that I've seen for myself and some clients to kind of strengthen areas that might be a little deficient. But
yeah,
sorry,
I've noticed for myself, not to, again, like, well, not to get too off the rails, but like I record myself a lot, like video, or I will watch myself play in front of a mirror, and like the right side of my embouchure sometimes has like a little air pocket more so than the left side. And so I've experimented with that and tried different things. And to your point, like about overthinking it, there, like sometimes I almost overthink it to the point where it's like paralyzing. So I do want to think about it and like make adjustments and experiment with it. But then I think it's important where there comes a time in your practice session, or especially if you're on a gig, where it's like, all right, now just play and forget about that. Because Because if you're constantly thinking about it, then it's going to become an issue, maybe even more than it is. So that's yeah, my 2 cents on the embouchure thing. You're way more of an expert on a embouchure, and we'll have to. I'm actually really curious about that type of stuff. So we'll have to talk. We'll have to do a deep dive
Yeah,
on embouchure
we
sometime.
can drill down on embouchure later. Yeah, the international embouchure hang. We'll start
Yeah,
that
we'll
group
be here
next.
all we'll be here all day.
Yeah,
That's like 5 sessions.
Yeah.
there'll be 5 people as well, so it'll be perfect.
Well, count me in. I'll be one of them. All right. Yeah, like I said, we won't go through every single thing I do, but I will try to give an overview of my fundamental session, so we can get to these row shoes, because that's the fun part. Yeah. So a few buzzing exercises, and then I put the mouthpiece in the horn and start out playing with, I guess, glissing / long tone type of drills. Actually, before I play, I like to kind of bring it back to the breathing and just blow some air through the horn, right? Just blow a nice gentle air stream through the horn a few times. So I haven't played well. So let's all do that together. Just blow some air through the horn and keep it nice and loose. And then I go straight into playing just a nice long sustained note on the top of the staff, B flat. So let's do just a couple of B flats and just play. And then when you run out of air, just let the note stop. And I was using my tongue just now. Sometimes I'll do air attacks. I think air attacks can be a really good way to just, again, taking away another variable, so that the only thing you're working on is producing a beautiful sound right from the first note of the day, and thinking about your air. Let's go down to the F. Do the same thing, like 2 notes on the F. And the low B flat. So I'm not trying to play loud. I'm really not trying to make the note happen or force the note to happen. Actually, growing up, my dad and I played a lot of golf. I spent a lot of my time as a kid on the golf course, at the driving range with my dad. It's something we did as a family, and all throughout middle school, high school, I was on the golf team and everything. And it's funny now how, when I look back at some of the lessons that I learned playing golf, how much of that directly relates to trombone playing. And I think about the idea of making a golf swing or doing a golf swing, and if you try to muscle it, or if you try to hit the ball, you're probably going to not get the result that you want. Whereas if you just think rhythmically and loose and allow the club to do what it's going to do, and think about the swing as opposed to hitting the ball, that's you're more likely to get the shot that you're looking for. And when it comes to trombone, I try to allow the note to happen, let the note happen, versus force the note, make the note come out. Yeah. So again, the specific exercises I do for long tones. I mean, sometimes I'll do like a Remington long tones. I like to do just like descending 5-note scales. Again, we could bring it back to the Alessi. He has some like glissandi exercises that I like to do at the beginning of my warm up. Let's do some 5-note scales, descending 5-note scales. So I start on a B flat, and so you're going down in the key of E flat, and then take it down in half steps, all the way down to the low B flat, down to a low E flat. So let's do these with a metronome, and let me know if as I'm playing, if it's too loud, or if you can't hear the metronome, something's not working, right? And again, I'm just glissing all of this. I just try to think a lot about the flow of the air, and even though it's, for me 10:47 in the morning, usually I warm up a little bit earlier, but even though it's earlier in the morning, trying to make the best sound I can right from the first warm-ups of the day. I know it's cliche, I think everybody probably says that, but yeah, it's true. So starting on the B flat, it'll be, let's see, that. So just quarter notes going down, and then the tonic, hold it out for a whole note. And then I use the next 4 counts to breathe in and set myself up for the next key. And since we're playing slow, long tones, I like to breathe in the same style. So take a nice, slow, easy breath over 4 counts and fill up. All right. Here we go. Starting on the B flat. Try not to aim right at the computer here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and then I usually do a few of the Alessi, like Glissandi exercises, and then move on to some slow lip slurs, some flexibility. I think Jason, you're the king of the lip slurs. You're always, I see the lip slurs. Maybe you can walk us through a couple of your favorite lip slurs later. But I like to do some slow, easy lip slurs, like 3-note slurs, 4-note slurs. Sometimes just kind of making up your own lip slurs depending on the day. Let's do the first Glissandi exercise, the Alessi. So I won't share my screen because it's just, I'll just play it by ear. So let's see. So the first one goes like this. And we'll just play that down until we get to the F to the E. We'll come back into first position for that one. Yeah, let's walk through this exercise. Just keeping it nice and loose, and I usually play this with his videos so I get a chance to hear his sound and then repeat back. So just try to really internalize his sound and keep the glisses, keep the slide arm nice and relaxed. Sometimes I'll breathe before the third, the lower partial, just to make sure I'm fully tanked up for it. All right, let's walk through this exercise here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Sorry if I'm going too fast. I usually like my warm-up routine because I get very easily distracted. So I have to go from one thing to the next, so that I don't end up taking 2 hours to get through a fundamental routine. So stop me if I'm going too fast or if I'm just like bouncing from one thing to the next. And if you want to stop me and say something. Yeah, can we do a couple of lip slurs? Let's do, let's see, let's do. So I'm thinking like just try and keep it as natural as I can. A nice like smooth transition each time in tempo. Jason, do you have any advice you want to throw into the mix on lip slurs?
Well, it's interesting because for a while I became like this. I almost took on like a hipster, opinion of I only want to practice things that are grounded in like harmonic, like chord progressions. So I don't want to do anything that's just up and down like the overtone series, right? And then I got to a point where I realized I wasn't going fast. I wasn't getting any of the faster stuff, like the more agile, stuff kind of trained up. So that's when I started the lip slur challenge. And everybody's going to be different, but the thing that I've noticed the most is that if you do the same lip slurs every day, you'll get good at those lip slurs and maybe not necessarily good at flexibility, right? So if you are constantly finding ways to add variety to the way that you do your lip slurs, and it could be something simple like some days you start on the top and you go down, and then some days you start on the bottom and you go up, or it could be maybe you do some days it's an eighth note type of rhythm, some days it's a triplet type of rhythm. But really, I think that there's an endless opportunity for creativity when it comes to coming up with little versions and patterns. And I think that people should, we should collect lip slur patterns like Pokemon cards. Like you should just get all of them, like everything, and just constantly switch it up. So that's just
Yeah.
kind of my general observations from my own journey.
Mhm.
And in terms of patterns, I think anytime that you can kind of like alternate that you're going up and you're going down within the same pattern. So for example, if you were to go like that's one thing, but if you were to go, that's going to be obviously a little bit more involved, so,
Yeah, definitely.
but those are just some general observations I have like from my own journey.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's so many, there's just like a limitless like options of lip slurs that you can do. So I'm always doing different lip slurs and trying to change it up. Yeah. All right, let's do that one, and then we'll get into some other stuff here. All right, starting on the B flat, going down and then back up. 2 and ready. Yeah, and I know that one feels very basic and very like high school band, but I think that, you always got to bring it back to the basics and do them even if sometimes they feel kind of like that. I'm going to share my screen again and share something with you guys that's maybe a little different that I've
Actually,
been
Erin,
using.
if I can
Yeah.
if I can chime in. So one of the things, so for those of you that are like working with other people via Zoom, or you're doing some, Zoom lessons or whatever, or if you are actually getting together in person. So one of the things that I do with like a lip slur like that is, let's say I'm playing like B flat F B flat. Who's to say that the other person couldn't be playing D B flat F? Or another person could be playing starting on F4 and playing F D B flat, and it kind of creates those like Wagner arpeggios that happen, like in the ring cycle. So when you were playing B flat F B flat, I started playing D B flat F. I was just a shelf kind of above you, and it's a really nice way to kind of add that level of like collaboration, and then try to like just balance the sounds out. And so you're still working on flexibility, but so if we do it again, I would recommend to people, like, if you want to switch it up a little bit, just try a different place within the shelves and play along, and it becomes kind of like almost like chamber lip slurs.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
really, really cool.
fantastic idea for my trombone ensemble for my students.
Yeah, that's really cool. Do you guys want to do it again and try that?
Yeah, why don't we do this, Erin? Why don't you start in seventh, and you just do like E B E, and then we'll do whatever.
Sure.
And just see
All
how
right.
it goes.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. Here we go. I'll count us in. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I couldn't hear any of you, but I'm
Yeah.
sure it was
So it
awesome.
sounded the same for you, but I did like so mi do mi so, and it totally like
Yeah.
works, you know. And I feel like I forget about thinking of like, so like I'm not in a lip slur head, I'm in a just beautiful sound and matching head. So
Yeah.
yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
I
that's a
don't
cool
mean to
creative way to make these Zoom lessons, or a little more interesting. um so one thing I like to do also is these Chickowitz flow studies that I'm going to share here. Let's see, do it this way. So what I like to do with these is just play the top line and then take it to the next page and do just the top line and so on, buzzing first and then playing. I feel like this is a good way to sort of ease into the upper register, just like one step at a time. And I kind of ignore these dynamics here at the bottom. I'm just aiming for like a nice, evenly paced, beautiful sound on the buzzing and then playing. You can feel free to do it however you want, but let's work ease into the upper register here with these flow studies. And it's all about flow, airflow. Breathe where you need to breathe. Like, don't try to force yourself to make this phrase happen all in one breath. I do these a little faster than is indicated. I go at about 76 typically. And that's the half note, 76. All right, so let's buzz the first line, and then we'll play it. And when you're buzzing, I know we don't have a drone going or anything, but just try to get right on the center of each pitch. I use the analogy of a bullseye a lot with my students. We want to be right on the center of the bullseye. Da. All right, on the mouthpiece. Actually, where's my lead pipe? This way. Okay, let's try this. 2, 3. And you can do this. You can approach it a variety of ways. Still, again, I'm still at this point in my warm up. I'm glissing. I add the tongue in later, and I think that's a personal choice. Some people might have the tongue involved like right away or sooner than I do, but I really like to just say I do some articulation exercises at the end, and then of course you're tonguing all day with the rep you're working on. So I like to just focus more on the sound and on the air, especially in the beginning here. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right, on the mouthpiece. 2, 3. All right, this one goes up to the F. I think it's just a coincidence that it's called the group F. And buzzing. Three and four. I did not get enough air in on that one. All right. And four. And we'll go one more. Three. Yeah, I think those are great. Those flow studies. I usually do those every day. And then there's a similar kind of exercise, a similar vibe to that. It's like my favorite thing that is on the Joe Alessi warm-up site. It's the Glissandi number 3. So I'll share screens with that in a minute. But before I do, so far, anybody want to jump in with any questions or comments on that or anything we've done so far? Yeah. All right. Let's dive into this one. Like I said, this is I like with the lip slurs we were mentioning before, I like to change it up. But this is one I try to do every time I practice. So let's go, what is it, 58? Just super connected. It says, gliss wherever you can with this. And I think this is a good one to buzz. But let's go ahead and play. Let's go ahead and play for time. Yeah. 2, 3. We'll take a bar between each line. Okay, 2, ready. All right. Yeah, I really just love that one. It makes me feel super loose, and by the time I've done that one, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to play. I'm ready to play anything. um, Man, this is going by fast. So yeah, usually I do that type of stuff, and then jump into some articulation, like tonguing on the line exercises. Maybe throw in some of the Alessi exercises. Pull out the Arban's. Pull out one of the bazillion etude books that I have in my other room or warm-up packets. But that's pretty much my my formula, I guess. Breathing, buzzing, glissing, long tones, slow lip slurs, flexibility, articulation. I just try to hit those bases every day for 40-45 minutes. It's more of a, I guess you could call it a warm-up, but it's like a fundamentals session. So, and then whatever I'm focusing on, if I am focusing on a certain aspect of those fundamentals, then I'll usually do a session dedicated to that later on in the day. So yeah,
I have a question.
yeah.
Okay, you said I like this thought of going from bass to bass every day, and you said now something about articulation. We didn't do that now, but do you think about relating tongue and hand in when you are practicing articulation?
Yeah, definitely. So I was thinking we could do a couple and then jump into the row shoes. Yeah, I start with just kind of tonguing on a single note and maybe varying the rhythmic pattern. And then I do a lot of like scale-based articulation exercises where I'm working on that slide tongue coordination, basically. Yeah. So let's see. Why don't we start? Let's just do a couple. So I was thinking in my head like, oh, we'll do like 30 minutes or so of this and do the roshis, but I wasn't expecting like I guess I wasn't factoring in the talking in between. So
It's totally okay. Our session, most people take 40 minutes worth of stuff, and it takes us like 90 minutes to do it. And
yeah.
if people have to go, people can go, and they can watch the video later. But it's really great information. So I think it's that aspect of this kind of exchange is so valuable right now. So
yeah.
don't worry too much about the.
Yeah, cool. So let's the first articulation based exercise we'll do. Let's just take this rhythm, and I like to use scales. So let's do the C major scale descending on this rhythm. And what I'm thinking about is trying to keep my chin flat so that I'm not doing this chewing on the note or twang on the note, so that each note is very uniform and the articulation is very clean and very crisp. So here's the pattern. Oh, sorry about that. Redo. All right, so let's just take that pattern down the C scale. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and then I might do something a little more like this, maybe. Kind of any kind of scales based pattern, and then just take that up and down. There's a few. My favorite one, I'll just share it with you really quickly here. Let's see if I can let's jump down to it. Because yeah, I think it is important to be working on this slide and tonguing coordination. Here it is. 1 second. I think this one is a good one for that. Number 2. And again, yeah, bringing it back to kind of how I do this in my routine. I love to listen and watch the video and just try to channel exactly the way Alessi is playing it in the video and match his style, match his articulation. He plays these like very bouncy. So just trying to mimic that as much as I can. So why don't we do number 2 here and then pack away the fundamentals and jump into the row shoes. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Sorry about that. I was just thinking, I'll just count us in for, well, we can read the ink. So the same number of rests between each one. Starting on the A. 1, 2, 3. So if I had been playing like everything we went through without all the talking in between, that would have probably been about 25 or 30 minutes. So yeah, I do a lot of other exercises that we didn't necessarily do together, and a lot more with the articulation, especially. I know we kind of skipped over some things at the end there, but yeah, I am itching to kind of move on. I hope that was a little bit helpful. I'm not really sure if it was or not. Hopefully it was a little bit. Sorry about my playing.
That's the beauty of it, though, is that we're all busy hacking away at it while you're playing it, so we can't hear you anyway.
Yeah, I know. See, I'm just we were kind of, Jason and I, talking about this the other day, but I was just thinking when he asked me to do this, I was like, oh wow, that would be great. I would love to do this. I'm so honored, and like it would be fun. But then I was like, oh well, I'm in my 20s. I'm a young musician. Like I hope I have something to offer. And so if there's any wisdom I've given you, it's certainly come from my teachers, and I'm just trying to pass it along to, pass it along. So hopefully this has been helpful so far. Yeah, let's jump into the row shoes. I do have a PDF version if I need to share the screen. If you don't have a row shoe book and if you want to play along, but let me let's see what I'll do. Well, let me just say a little bit about what these are. So a couple of years ago, I was kind of messing around with GarageBand and experimenting a little bit with how it works, and I had written a little backing track to just a portion of one of the row shoe etudes just for fun, and then I kind of forgot about it for like a year, and then at the beginning, basically when COVID hit almost a year ago, I was like, man, I think I need a project to dive into. So yeah, this is what my project was, and I just dove into writing them, and they're all really different. So your the style of each one is kind of different, but so we'll go through a few different ones, maybe not the whole etude, just maybe a few phrases, and yeah, see how it goes. Let's see. Share my. I'm not going to play along for these because then I'm afraid you won't be able to hear the actual backing track. And by the way, to get these, if you wanted to get the whole set, I wrote numbers 1 through 10 plus number 18, because actually number 18 is the one I wrote first, like just for fun. And then so I was like, well, I'll write the first 10 and then just finish number 18 as like a bonus track. So those are the ones that I've written. And if you want to get all of them, you can just message me on through an email through roshubackingtracks@gmail.com, or find me on like Instagram or Facebook and message me. But the whole set for each one, and it comes with a version at 2 different tempos, like a regular tempo and a slower tempo. So it's $15 for the whole set. And actually, for those of you who are here on the video live, I was going to offer you guys a little 20% discount. So if you guys want them, then email me. I don't know what 20% would be. 15. I think it's like $12.50 or something like that. So yeah, I was going to offer that to you guys who are here on the live stream. Yeah, thanks, Jason. It's just like how roshubackingtracks@gmail.com. So shoot me a message if you like what you hear. I know they're probably not for everybody. I know a lot of people might not like them, but I think it's a good way, especially for just to change up something that we are so used to doing all the time. Let's see. Let's start with number 3. What's up here? Here we go. So each one has like a 4-bar intro, and then there will be a click that kind of will bring you in. This one's easy because it starts right on the downbeat. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Am I missing anything before we play through some of it?
Four bars of sound.
4 bars and then downbeat, yeah.
And then a downbeat.
And,
Perfect.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Let's try it.
All right, let's try one. I've got my speaker here, so hopefully you can hear it okay. All right, here we go. So that one's got like a chill, like Latin kind of a vibe. I was thinking I would do one that's a little kind of contrasting to that, like style wise. Number 7. This one is a little bit inspired by The Who. So let's do a little bit of number 7. Oh, by the way, and maybe we'll try this with another one. I also transposed all of these into tenor clef. So maybe we'll stretch a little bit towards the end and do one like regular down an octave tenor clef, So let's do some of number 7 here. Same thing, 4 bars and then right in on the downbeat. Could you hear it okay, by the way? Did it work to? Good. All right, here we go. Yeah, so it's a little flavor of that one. Brian Hecht has a video on his Instagram and on Facebook of him playing along to one. There's one I recorded a video playing along to number 10. If you want to just like check out a couple more. And number 5, I did like a little snippet from number 5 also on my Instagram, which is TBN_Erin. Let's do another one here. Flip over to number 18. This is probably the most like maybe classically hip hoppy sounding ones, I think. All right. Ready? Here we go. Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully these are, why don't we do one more to also try the tenor clef. So
Please, not that one in tenor clef.
no. I was gonna
It's a
say
different
number
one.
2. Number 2.
Dominic's fine, but I could do down the octave, like, so whatever. We could do whatever.
Yeah. Let's do number 2. I'll do it as, let's do as is for a little bit, and then we'll switch over and try the tenor clef. Okay.
I'm sorry, which one?
Number 2. Number 2.
Oh yeah, chestnut. Got it.
Yeah. All right. So as is the first time. And this will be like 4-bar intro and then bum, bum, like the pickup into the 5th bar.
Right. So we'll play in the last beat of the 4th measure.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, here we go. Yeah, and just to give you an idea, here would be the slower version of that. So it's like each one has like that slower tempo. All right, let me find the tenor clef here.
Man, you could really like have an endless project here of just
I know.
new styles.
I know.
Like you could have like 5 or 6 different styles for each Rochu, and you could put it.
Yeah. What have I gotten myself into?
You should do like a subscription series where people pay you like $5 a year or something like that, and then
Yeah.
whenever you drop a new one, it just they automatically get it or something because it's great.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I hope people like them. If people like them, then I will write more. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I think one of the things that happens, and I don't know if this is for everyone, but I know for me, something like the Rochus that I've been doing for so long, it can turn into a very pedagogical and academic exercise sometimes because I've used them to, kind of develop my skills. So to put on a backing track automatically puts me in more of a performance mode and just play. And so it's really good to kind of flip that switch and just like perform them. So it's really nice of you to kind of go through this with us because it's they're really fun. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you. I had fun writing them, and that was kind of the idea. It was just like, let's change it up. Let's do something different. Like, let's turn something, like, let's take this oldie but goodie, like these Rochus, and maybe just put a different spin on them. So, yeah, let's try. Should we try a little bit of number 2 in tenor clef?
Oh, before we do, I think Connor's got a question.
Yeah.
Any chance of you also transposing these into alto for those of us wanting to get more familiar with alto? I've been working on the Rochus, both like tenor, bass, but then also playing them on alto, and it'd be helpful for my ears mostly.
Yeah, no, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, I might have to do that. Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I wasn't originally going to even do the tenor clef, but then so many people were like asking if I would put them into tenor clef. So I did. And I've been using them actually with the tenor clef just in small chunks, but it does help with your ear and with timing. So I think it's good. I've been using them with some of my students. So yeah, hopefully these will catch on and be a helpful tool for everybody. All right, so let's do a little bit of the tenor clef for number 2. Here we go. Yeah, so that's the Rochu backing tracks in a nutshell. Like I said, if there's a couple more if you want to listen to them that I've recorded, that other people have recorded. But yeah, any I guess any comments or questions that maybe I can answer? Yeah.
It's really good stuff, but I can't play that because it's so funny. For me, it's totally funny because when I studied in Berlin, we have to play the whole Rochu up to 120. And my professor, Mr. Gößling, he is such a serious musician. And all my brain is going to it's funny.
Yeah, so, I know, right? I will never be able to hear these Rochus the same way because now there's this whole other component.
It's not a critic. It's so interesting that what you have learned changes the things you play something. So when I think about, I give my students this stuff, I think they would like it because they don't know what I heard years before. It's really good stuff.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's really, really great to hear. Thank you guys so much. The feedback has been really encouraging, and just even knowing that one person like has benefited from it or likes it, makes it worth it. So
Yeah, if you ever get an app, then like if you ever like go like full app on it where like you can just plug in like, you know, you pull up Roshu 3 and you can like pick the clef or pick the key it's in, or if there's a dial where you can go like, you know, full circus, you know, or like dial it back to like more and like all these different like styles or whatever.
yeah.
I know that that's just my brain taking things in a very unrealistic direction right now, because you know there's a way.
That's good though. Like if you're thinking about ways to like, oh, what if we did this? What if we did that? Then
yeah, I think, you know, especially when we're trying to talk with developing students about style and about playing in different styles, I think it's really great that if they can, you know, have like a different style of background accompaniment that they have to play along with. You still need to sound beautiful. You still need to play in tune. You still need to use good air. Like all the basic technical elements are still, you know, really required for it to go well. But just to have an idea of how it can fit, like a beautiful sound can fit into so many different, you know, styles. I think that that's just, it's fun, but it's also helpful, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to change your color of playing, and I think that's a really, really good idea.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you guys so much. I guess we can kind of wrap up here. Like I said, if you're interested in these, shoot me a message. Let your friends, let your students know about them if you like it. Yeah, it was a pleasure to be here and hang with you guys and play some trombone. Anything I missed, or any last?
No, just thank you so much. I think Dominic's got a question.
Is there a 4/4/3 version? I was really struggling today
Sorry?
playing. Is there a 4/4/3 version or a 4/4/1 or 2?
European tuning of A441 or A.
No, I don't actually.
Because I was struggling down there. You're muted, Jason.
Yeah.
If you get to the point to where you have an app and then you could just like,
I could adjust it. Yeah.
Adjust it, you know.
I purposely played on my American horn today, but I'm still struggling down there.
Yeah. That's a good point you brought up, because I hadn't even really thought about that.
That's kind of you to slum it with us today, Dominic.
Yeah.
All the way down there.
Way down there, yeah.
I've been playing German all week, so my pitch is up here somewhere.
Yeah. This has been great, Erin. Really, thank you so much. And you know, even like going through the various aspects of your routine and the way that you kind of develop your sound. Lots of great information there as well. You know, and just you're doing just some really great work. And then obviously the backing tracks, that's a lot, you know, that can be a lot of fun for a lot of people. So, you know, thank you for sharing that with us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for hanging with me.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you know, you're always welcome back at the International Trombone Hang. We hope that you're not a stranger, you know, to us, and you know, I'll make sure that, you know, roshubackingtracks@gmail.com is on the email list, so you'll get the notification for your session.
Yeah, this is such a cool thing, and then that's what's great about like the trombone community. I feel like it's a great community to be a part of. Everyone's just trying to help each other, grow from each other. You know, it's a very collaborative group of people, I've always thought. So thanks for you know, inviting me, and for everybody for being here, and yeah, let me do this.